Carlson, first up, stock markets heading higher.
Yes, and it appears to be all about Ukraine this session. We've seen a relief rally for stocks worldwide as investors appear to be banking on hopes that the standoff between Russia and the West will cool. In the United States, all three indices powered ahead on Wall Street. The Nasdaq stages its biggest daily gain in 5 months, and the S&P 500 finished at another record close. In Europe at the close, the indices were also sharply higher across the board, really, with the DAX in Frankfurt up 2.5% to roundabout. The MICEX in Moscow, Russia's main stock index, also finished sharply higher, up 5.3%. It wasn't enough, though, to claw back all of the losses that we saw on Monday over tensions in Ukraine. The MICEX lost 11% on Monday. A little bit of a rebound, as you can see there. I suppose a little bit is an understatement. Now, as investors appear to be drawing a sigh of relief, attention is turning to Ukraine's strained finances. A senior European official says the EU will help Ukraine pay the $2 billion it owes Russia's Gazprom. At the same time, US Secretary of State John Kerry arrived in Kiev earlier, pledging a financial lifeline to the tune of $1 billion. But that's not going to be enough in the longer term, as Joe Tandy explains.
Bringing America's blessing to Kiev's embattled revolutionaries and $1 billion in aid to revive Ukraine's economy.
We will help you.
With Ukraine's economy in dire straits, the American offer won't go all the way. The country's debt-to-GDP ratio stands at 40%. Borrowing costs are sky high, while Kiev says it needs to find $35 billion over the next 2 years to fend off bankruptcy. An International Monetary Fund delegation is also in the Ukrainian capital. The country's new leaders have asked the fund for $15 billion in loans. Yet any IMF aid package will require painful reforms to the Ukrainian economy. To make matters worse, Russian state gas company Gazprom has announced the end of Ukraine's discounted gas imports, citing Kiev's $1.5 billion in unpaid bills.
Gazprom has decided not to extend the discount starting at the beginning of next month.
In exchange for closer ties with Moscow, Gazprom last year granted Ukraine a preferential rate of $268 per 1,000 cubic meters of gas. From next month, the price will rise to $400. The European Union has offered to help Ukraine pay back what the country already owes Gazprom. Yet the Russian giant has sought to keep Kiev in its debt, offering Ukraine up to $3 billion in credit to help meet payments.
Now, the crisis in Ukraine was also when the Geneva Motor Show opened its doors. Car manufacturers say they're keeping an eye on the situation as the threat of sanctions hangs over Russia. Russia's car market has been a source of strength for European car makers, which have suffered from lackluster sales at home. Ford, for instance, predicts that Russia will become Europe's largest car market in the next 2 or 3 years. The concern is that Russian sales could tumble if the crisis flares up. Let's listen in now to the chief executive of Fiat.
There's not a single doubt in my mind that if the situation in Russia and Ukraine remains as tight as it is, or if it worsens from where we are, that it will dampen demand in Western Europe, that it will actually create a dislocation in the demand function. There's not a single doubt. I mean, we've seen this historically happen in a variety of jurisdictions. I don't think Western Europe is exempt.
That was Sergio Marchionne speaking there. Let's take a look at a few other stories that we're following for you. Jobless ranks in Spain fell last month by around 2,000 people. The drop is modest, and more than 4.8 million people are still out of work in Spain, but it is the first February since 2007 that unemployment ticks lower. The month is traditionally weak for the labour market. The uptick is seen as a sign that the recovery is taking hold in Spain. Meanwhile, Germany's biggest power producer has posted its first full-year loss in more than 60 years. RWE blames asset write-downs for a full-year loss of 2.75 billion euros for 2013. The utility is suffering as an energy transition is underway in Europe. A surge in solar and wind power is undercutting the profitability of RWE's coal and gas-fired plants. Weak energy demand is also seen to be hitting the bottom line. And French conglomerate Bouygues is about to make an offer for mobile network operator SFR. That's according to sources speaking to Reuters. The bid would pit Bouygues against cable operator Numericable and its owner, which has already put in a preliminary offer for SFR to its owner Vivendi. Numericable's offer is just shy of 15 billion euros. It's unclear whether Bouygues will beat that offer. A telecoms war may be brewing here in France by the looks of it. And with that, I'm going to be handing over the reins back to Mark for the rest of the news.
Indeed, hold the line on that one. Marcus Carlson, thank you very much indeed. Marcus Carlson there with all the business. It's time now for us to take a tour down the Media Watch lane. James Creedon joins us for that. James, good evening to you, sir.
Evening, Mark.
Good to see you, as ever. We're starting with a poll that's quite interesting here in France, which indicates that